PPTQ via Kerwin's Game Store, as you can see behind us. We're really excited to watch the later grader format and really watch some more interesting matches, I believe. Me and Bob jammed a little bit of Legacy prior to this, so we're pretty hyped.
The interesting matches are only the ones that include Jund?
No.
Oh, okay.
I love a lot of Legacy, modern decks, actually. I love Ad Nauseam. I think it's a fantastic deck. I think it does a lot of really sweet things. I like Hexproof a lot, actually. And I guess this might be Dan Ward rubbing off onto me a little bit. But in my defense, even before I knew Dan Ward, I watched Reed Duke smash Worlds with it, I believe it was.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, I kind of want to play this deck. So I was working on my way to getting the green-white Hexproof deck. And I think it's sweet. I like that deck a lot. I think Infect's a sweet deck. I personally don't like how degenerate it can be, but I think it attacks from an interesting angle, and I think that's really sweet. I love Burn, which is completely contradictory to my love for Jund. So just playing different decks really gives you a broader knowledge of how things work and how to attack that deck with the deck that you like.
So I'm a big fan of Jeskai Control. And I played it a long time ago. And now that with the addition of Nahiri and the Emrakul package, I really like it because I think it gives you the inevitability the deck kind of didn't have before. There were no great win conditions for that deck.
Yeah, and she also acts as a fantastic removal spell, too.
Yeah,
exiling great creatures, enchantments, and artifacts, which is great.
Which is way more relevant, I think, in Modern than it is in Standard right
Absolutely. Standard suffers from the Dromoka's command conundrum, so there's no enchantments that are really, really relevant. But you can hit evolutionary leaps here and there. No artifacts really anywhere. But Nahiri has the capability of being able to exile, problematic enchantments, rest in peace, stuff like that. So your Snapcaster Mages start working again, and to be able to get rid of random artifacts that are attacking the Affinity deck's very popular.
Sure. So I'm a fan of Affinity. I love artifacts. I
Yep.
think artifacts are cool. I've loved them since I started playing in Unlimited. I just always thought they were neat.
Nice.
Really big fan, obviously, the Prison deck. I really want to see somebody break Thopter Foundry and Sword of the Meek. I mean, because I'm an artifact guy, I've seen Tezzerator decks around, and some of them look kind of cool, but I don't know that it's really found the right shell.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think Abrupt Decay is really prevalent in the format. Jund's a very good modern deck right now because they've been hitting a lot of the degenerate combo decks, and they just rather than losing a piece to their combo, they kind of crumble.
Sure.
So Jund's the fairest of fair decks, and when everyone's trying to play fair, Jund just kind of does that better than everybody else. So you can expect Jund to be a really solid deck in the modern metagame. Nahiri Jet Control is very good against Jund because if you resolve Ancestral Visions, that's a beating. But it depends. If Jund's got a really aggressive draw, then you can just draw a bunch of cards. But if you're not affecting the board state, it's not doing anything.
Yep.
So Jund's got game. Nahiri combo is very good, and I think Infect's very good as well.
Also a big fan of Green Red Tron.
Yeah.
I played that for a pretty good stint, 8-9 months. I was solid on that deck. And I know it gets a bad rap, people who play it drool out of the side of their mouth and are lobotomized. But I mean, I actually found the deck to be fairly intricate, and sequencing plays in that deck, particularly when to crack your eggs and what to do on turn 1 and turn 2 is very important. So there were interesting nuances, and I'm not a ramp player, so it was a really good change of pace for me. It was really kind of neat, and I have original Urza lands, so I wanted to play with them.
Nice. I think I actually like Tron in this current metagame because what Tron used to have with the Eye of Ugin is just such inevitability. There's just sure, you've done everything you can to affect the board state, but I have this land and I have the mana that I need. I'm just going to activate it and get everything I need for the rest of the game.
Right.
And it was just disheartening because you would work at destroying other lands, and then they would keep drawing lands. You draw the game out longer, and Tron's all right, I still have inevitability, and assemble Tron, Eye of Ugin, go find stuff. Whereas now that you have the Eye of Ugin, you have to work a little harder for the inevitability, and you're you have the variance that everyone else has in their decks as well.
Sure.
Where you have to try to draw it naturally, or play a Sanctum of Ugin, which is a one-time thing that sacrifices and goes away and gets a creature. So I think it's much better in that style.
Yeah.
Whereas we've lost the inevitability. I think Eldrazi going away was extremely important.
Yeah.
I think it was very oppressive, and it just stopped other fair decks from doing things. Jund had an okay matchup versus Eldrazi. I wouldn't say it was favorable in any way. Infect was fantastic back then. You're just drawing out the more degenerate decks. It's just Eldrazi can't interact with all that well.
Right.
So it just kind of made Modern really one-sided, and I wasn't a fan of it.
So what's the meta like up here? Because I know what it's like down in New Jersey, Philadelphia, or where I'm from, but
People love islands, I think, anywhere you go.
everyone's a blue mage at heart, Josh.
Yeah, you can have like other people playing a bunch of other decks, but I think end of the day, people love their islands. So I think an island-centric metagame is probably fairly popular. I know a lot of people were playing Blue, White, Red Flashback on Standard, and they were just like, wow, this is basically a Modern deck. I just get to add Lightning Bolt and Serum Visions and stuff. So
Actually saw a Modern deck like 2 weeks ago playing Spell Queller. Blue, white, I think it was, I want to say it was a Jeskai control deck. That was trying Spell Queller out there. So, I don't know, maybe we'll see one of those.
Yeah, I've seen a few
around.
Spell Quellers. Lloyd Kurth played it in his Bant Retreat deck.
Right.
It's like a Collected Company Knight of the Reliquary Retreat Akora Helm deck, which is sweet.
it's
He used to have a Courser of Crewfix, but he dropped the second copy for one copy of Spell Queller. He's also playing 2 copies of Thalia's Heretic Cathar, which I think is sweet.
Yeah, great card. Great
I
card.
also saw the 5-color aggro deck. That was really sweet. That was playing like Siege Rhinos and Mantis Riders and Spell Quellers. So I was really, really excited about a deck like that.
Yeah, Siege Rhino, funny card, got played almost immediately back when Birthing Pod was around, back before Birthing Pod got banned. And obviously, I think in a deck that I've got built and I play a lot is the sort of after Birthing Pod deck, which is the Collected Company Malira Pod sort of deck.
No, I
And
really like that deck.
I love that deck because it just feels like there's so many different ways to win. You've got so many outs to handle so many awkward situations. And Collected Company is just a busted great card.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's busted in Modern, like, it's
Yeah,
busted.
I think it's less busted than the Birthing Pod used to be. Like we were talking about yesterday.
Variance
There's
is better.
way more variance in it. And like you can't dilute your deck with just really, really good like one-of cards anymore.
And certainly permission's better in this format. You have Mana Leak. You have you have a variety of better just counter spells to keep that off the board and keep them from assembling the combo. Kiki Chord is something I'm really interested in looking at as well, particularly now with Eldritch Evolution out. We've seen Jeff Hooglin play that deck, and you've seen copies of it sort of start to pop up. Very, very interested in Eldritch Evolution. Only issue with that card is it feels like playing in Legacy crop rotation, where if the spell gets countered, you're still sacking the creature or the land with crop rotation in response, and it's a 2-for-1, and it's really
I
rough.
watched Kevin Jones versus Connor Bryant a little bit yesterday. Connor was playing, I think, the Kiki Chord Eldritch Evolution deck, or like more of like a brew-ish of that style, and Kevin was playing his Grixis Delver deck, and Kevin just had Remand and Snapcaster in his hand. So it's like, okay, I have 6 mana open, so I'm just going to re-ran the first one. And then he's like, try it again. He's like, okay, sure.
Sack your other creature, remand it.
Yeah, Snapcaster remand. And it's like, Kevin just drew 2 cards, and Connor just sacrificed 2 creatures. Your remand just literally turned into Doomblade at that point, which is insane.
Well, and I think going forward with those decks, maybe it might be right.
Just this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, buddy.
I think going forward with those decks, it might be right when playing against Permission to sort of side Eldritch Evolution out, because the Kiki Chord deck pre Eldritch Evolution played out really, really well. Still played with the combo, and was still totally possible to win with that deck. Eldritch Evolution just kind of adds another piece to get you to the combo. So we may start seeing that. Josh is now going to wear his green sunglasses.
They're invisible, actually.
Yeah, yep, on our green screen. Didn't Scott tell you not to do this?
Probably.
Okay, all right.
Look how sweet it looks, though.
Josh, you're...
No, I'm telling you, one time we should come
This is
with
what
green
happens when you play
sunglasses
Jund.
and hats that are just green. And we get like masks and spray paint the masks green, that'd be sick. So we're just like bits and pieces of our faces.
This is what happens when you play Jund in too many formats.
You come up
ladies
with
and
fantastic ideas that are hilarious.
Everything relates to Jund. Apparently, our burgers last night related to Jund, right? Because it had egg on it, so it had all the good
so like
stuff.
this guy asks me, he's like, Josh, how does this burger relate to Jund? And I was like, well, we took a hamburger, which is good, and we put bacon and an egg on it. And I was like, all right, well, this is just all of the good things you can put onto a burger, put onto a burger. That's how you play Jund. You take a baseline of like good stuff and you add good stuff to it, and then that's it. That's how you play Jund.
So they're getting the pairings done, and they're getting everybody set up for round one. It looks like.
Yes, our round one feature match is a good friend of mine, Jesse Adams, versus G-Fabulous Gerard Fabiano.
Oh, great! Gerard's back today.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's
Yeah.
good. I'm glad. I know he had a rough start yesterday, but it's good to see that he's going to be back playing a little more Magic today.
I think he's going to be playing a lot more Magic today, because if I know anything about G-Fabulous in Modern, I think he takes extra turns. That was the last deck I saw him on, so he might just be taking a bunch of extra turns.
Turbo turns?
I think so.
Wow.
I think Jesse is
right.
on Naya Company.
So I had a friend, my old co-host from Higher Standards, one of them, Jason Roscom, played Turbo turns to death. It's infuriating, man.
I believe so.
I mean, like, because the deck starts off so slow, and you're like, all right, well, I can probably win against this. I can probably get to the point where you're going to die before you get your combo off. But then when it goes off, I mean, it just goes off. And they're like, turn, take another turn, play Jace. And you look at it and go, really, I'm about to get milled out. That's I'm going to sit here. Is that what people feel like when they play against prison decks?
Maybe. I feel like the feeling of helplessness creeps in there somewhere.
That's horrible. I have to play more prison decks.
Yeah. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Maybe I should play turbo turns.
Maybe. Oh, it looks like we are going to be heading down to the match any second now.
Great. I can't wait to see Gerard take extra turns. I'm rooting for you, Gerard.
That's what I assume he's doing.
Okay, well, we're going to hope. I hope. Maybe he'll just play a straight prison deck. Maybe we'll see Ensnaring Bridge.
Maybe he's on the Blue Red Thopters deck.
It would be great. It would be great. So shuffling up here. Looks like they're going to deal their opening hands.
I want Gerard to just lay down 7 cards on the table, look at his opponent, and say keep.
I see blue there.
Yeah.
I do see green, though, so I don't know. And some black, maybe? He's playing Sultai. That wouldn't be a surprise either.
Ooh. Maybe I don't know. Okay. Maybe he's just playing the Taking Turns deck with Ancestral.
All right, so they're both keeping
Cryptics.
Ancestral Vision out first.
I don't know what he's doing.
He's making interesting facial expressions.
I think, I think my buddy Jesse is on Naya Company.
Right.
And it looks like his hand's a little on the slow side.
Well, Gerard certainly hasn't wasted any time getting his Ancestral Visions out there. Plays tap land, passes the turn, shock land, doesn't take the damage.
Yeah. I believe that's an old original Ravnica set foil hallowed fountain.
It's very pretty.
I have an original hallowed fountain because I ended up picking up a Russian one and giving it to my friend.
Arid Mesa for Adams, cracks.
Yeah, I think we have a Goyf here. I think that's what we're going to try to put onto the table.
You say try.
Yeah.
It's not like there's 1-mana counters in Modern that counter 2 casting cost spells.
Yeah, no. Spell Snare, I think, is what they would call it if they did make it.
R&D wouldn't make something like that, though.
Yeah. No, that seems really degenerate.
So Adams will take
would
2,
something like that.
Put him down to 18.
Ooh, that Goyf looks like it's got writing all over it.
And there is a signed original Goyf. So Fabiano draws, plays Plains, pass the turn.
Yeah, I think we just might be straight blue-white right here.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess it wasn't a forest. It was the glint off that foil kind of looked like a forest foil. So Fabiano's going to take, what is that Goyf now? I guess he's just a 1-2. Yeah. Wow. It's a pretty small, sad Goyf right now.
Yeah, I would agree.
So 19. Goyf not doing much right now. Guess he needs a lightning bolt or something just to start growing that.
Yeah, I think if we had a bolt, we would have thrown it.
Yep.
I think we're going to play a Knight of the Reliquary here, though.
So,
much better.
Loxodon Smiter. Okay. And
yeah, we're turbo turning.
Wow. Okay, so this is Crew Fix.
Dictative Crew Fix.
Thank you, Dictative Crew Fix. You're gonna find that Josh is gonna know a lot more of the names than I do because this is. Although I play a decent amount of Modern, I'm not nearly as well versed in the format as Josh is. So I'm gonna mess up a lot, and Josh is gonna look great.
I don't know about that, but I've played a Dictative Crew Fix or two in my day, and this is actually personally something I don't think I would play against a deck like this.
Well, it is game 1. Might get sided out. So
I don't know what kind of...
All right.
Tap team draw card.
There you go. So Cryptic Command, he's going to buy himself time, which is really all Turbo Turns wants to do.
Yep.
Buy yourself turns.
I think... I don't know if Jesse wants to slam the main phase collected company here, because we are in a format where 4-mana Wraths are real.
Nope,
but
he's
he wants
just going to play the Knight.
Yeah, he wants to play a 5/5 Knight of the Reliquary. So if you guys thought Loxodon Smiter was good, a 3-mana 4/4 uncounterable, how about a 3-mana 5/5?
So there's Gerard drawing. Drawing all of the cards.
Actually 5 cards this turn.
Jesus God.
I see some form of a Planeswalker in his deck. Or in his hand, I mean.
Wouldn't surprise me to see an Ashiok just come down. That is Gerard's staple card.
Yeah.
There's
Team
a Supreme Verdict. All right. So that's that. And, ballsy move by Jesse Adams only because, Gerard, he knows Gerard's going to be drawing 5 cards. I mean,
yeah.
You got to know you're playing Supreme Verdict in that deck.
So this is the spot where I'm going to end up liking being Jesse. Jesse just drew a Voice of Resurgence and a Wild Mikado.
There you go.
Which is fantastic because now we get to play multiple threats this turn and just reload after the Supreme Verdict.
Anytime you can do 2 things in one turn, it's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
There's your Voice. So
Leading with the Voice is very good.
Not a lot Gerard's going to be able to do about that, I think, with 1 black mana up. Well, he could spell Snare it if he had it, but doesn't look like he does. So Jesse's going to check his graveyard now. Okay.
He's going to Ghost Quarter his own land.
He's going to go find another basic. I guess he's going to go find... What does he need here? I guess he needs another white, maybe?
I don't think he needs another white.
Well, then why? I don't understand why you...
Maybe he does.
Yeah. I mean, the deck plays fairly low to the ground, so maybe you don't need 5 lands. Okay, he's going to play another Loxodon Smiter.
Yeah, so he probably needed the white source.
Yep.
It's also getting stuff like lands out of your deck to help you draw non-lands from dictates.
And get stuff in the yard helps Goyf.
Yeah.
Although there's plenty of lands in the graveyard, so...
Well, he's also playing Knight of the Reliquary, so it's not a play like you're terribly... All
right, so here goes Gerard. He's going to take extra turns, and this could be the start of basically this deck's combo.
Yeah.
He definitely has another one in his hand. So, okay, Narset. All right, wow.
That's really powerful.
Yes, it is. Wow. So he's going to look at the top. It's going to so he's going to get to cast 2 Ancestral Visions. Now, they are going to suspend still, right?
Yep.
So it's going to be a while, but the point is, at some point, Gerard's going to draw back-to-back 3 cards, 6 cards total. Whew. Maybe he'll deck himself.
I don't know if we can hit the Ancestral Vision because it comes off on the upkeep, and Narset can't minus in time to do that.
Yep. It's like I told you guys, all these interactions that I'm not as skilled with. So Gerard will be on his 2nd turn. So Gerard will take another turn after this. Jesse just sitting there watching sort of helplessly at this point. Nothing he can do about it.
Yeah.
No Force of Wills in this format. Ticks up Narset. Or no. Reaches for
He's
Narset.
Considering what to do with Narset. Because if he uses the flashback mode and he has another take an extra turn card, that's really powerful.
Okay, so he's going to bounce Loxodon Smiter. He's going to draw a card with Cryptic Command. Still got another turn, so he doesn't have to worry about getting one of those off. So he's going to tick up Narset, look at the top card. It looks like it's a land, so that won't be a draw for him. He'll fetch, basically, to get that land off the top of his library and reshuffle the deck. Much like Miracles likes to do in Legacy with Brainstorm.
I know how to do it myself.
Okay.
Sylvan Library is a card that brainstorms very well.
Everything goes back to John. Now Gerard will play Timely Reinforcements, which
just get some 3 creatures.
Yeah, just 3 creatures. No, but 3 creatures are fine. Get some blockers.
No, it blocks Voice very well, and that's what he wants to do. He just wants to protect his Narset right now.
There's his other Ancestral Visions. All right. So Jesse now gets to take a turn, but Gerard is sort of way ahead here a little bit.
Gerard's in a really great position.
Jesse's he's got the ground gummed up. He's got a Narset that could very well minus and stop Jesse's Collected Company if that's what Gerard wants to do. And you got to think, if you're wondering how to lose the game, Collected Company is certainly a big way to lose that.
Yeah, so if Gerard goes for the -9 here, that's actually insane because we can't cast Collected Companies anymore.
Yeah, you're forcing Jesse to just basically play fair.
Yeah, you can't cast non-creature spells. Your opponents can't cast non-creature spells.
No more lightning
So
bolts.
the Paths, Bolts, and Collected Companies all get turned off. So Jesse really needs to main phase both of his spells right now. And if Gerard has a Supreme Verdict, then Jesse becomes in trouble. Actually, I guess he could play the Company in response to the Narset minus.
So Jesse will play a Wild Mikado. He's got a Voice token out there, and he's got a Knight of the Reliquary. Gerard ticks down Ancestral Visions on his upkeep, draws. Draws again for Dictator Crucifix. Has a Path to Exile in hand. We can see that. Plays a land. I guess he's going to minus Narset down. And he's going to Supreme Verdict here, it looks like. No, okay, he's going to take extra turns, sorry. So put that on the top of his deck, just to remind. Is that legal to do?
I think for a rebound spell.
Okay.
I know there's some, like, sensitivity to something like that.
Because I've heard for all the pact spells, for instance, you're not allowed to do that to remind yourself.
Yeah. So the pact spells themselves are in the graveyard, and they're not coming back.
Aha.
But
that spell is.
Yeah, that spell is going to get rebounded.
Yep. Okay, so Jesse will concede, and we'll just go to game 2. Gerard very handily dealing with Jesse, who, as you said, Josh, had a fairly slow hand to start out
Yeah,
with.
it was too slow. Like, the turn 2 1-2 Goyf was just not good enough in a situation like that. Mm-hmm. If we hit, like, a turn 2 Voice Resurgence, then the initial Supreme Verdict wouldn't have been as detrimental.
Right.
And I think Jesse probably shouldn't have played his Knight of the Reliquary that turn and just held up the Collected Company instead.
Mm-hmm.
And if Gerard just casts some random spells, he can cast the Collected Company, or he can cast the Collected Company in the face of counterspell mana.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does counter it, then, he's tapped out for your turn. You get to untap and do whatever you want on your turn. And we put instant in the graveyard to make Goyf a little bit bigger.
So what's Jesse going to bring in now, you think?
Gaddock Teague. I don't know if he's got it, but if he does, we're bringing in Gaddock Teague. This is how Dan gave G Fabulous the business when he was playing Boggles. Dan resolved his Gaddock Teague and slapped a totem armor onto it. So like, even if he Supreme Verdicted, it wouldn't die. Or like if he got rid of it somehow, it wouldn't die.
Mm-hmm.
So because I don't think you can cast Supreme Verdict in the face of Gaddock Teague. But Gaddock Teague's very good against this deck. It's not a lot of ways to get rid of it. Path to Exile probably being one of the only ones.
Yep.
So Gaddock Teague's probably my number one. Got to bring this card in. Anything, gosh, I don't know what else green, white, red could have to be able to combat like a deck like this. This is a very interesting deck to play against.
The versions I've seen of this have mostly been mono blue. So his sort of white, and there's black in there too, I think, or is it just the fetch lands?
I think it's just the fetch lands.
Yeah, it's just polluted deltas. But the white really does give him access to some good spells for Path to Exile, Supreme Verdict, kind of just to keep the board.
Narset, actually. Narset. The flashback on Narset, or the rebound on Narset's really insane when you're just take an extra turn, rebound, take an extra turn.
Yeah, main deck Timely Reinforcements, great card.
Card for that deck. He's probably really soft to aggressive draws, like the burn decks and stuff. Mm-hmm. So having mainboard reinforcements is probably great for him.
Yeah, I can imagine slamming that on turn 3 on the draw feels pretty good.
Yeah. Even not, like, his deck seems like it has a lot of tempo to it. So if he can just get to a reasonable life total behind on board, and like he's got Supreme Verdict to catch up, Timely Reinforcements to catch up, I think the deck's really sweet. I'm pretty glad to watch it on camera.
Yeah.
I'm glad that match didn't go erroneously long, because to taking turns I can kind of do that, but Jesse knew he was in a bad spot and like he wasn't going to get anywhere with it.
Yeah, and players who haven't seen that deck before, less kind of skilled or well versed rather in the modern format, will tend to sit there and let the deck go through its turns. And
personally, I don't think I would have conceded at that point, simply because I don't think it was entirely locked up. I know Gerard was drawing a lot of cards, and it was a bad spot for Jesse, but I don't know if it was like we lose right here.
So Gerard drawing 7, Jesse drawing 7. Looks like Jesse will be in the play. Looks like he's going to keep, and so will Gerard. Wooded Foothills.
Fetch Noble.
Yep. Go play Noble Hierarch. Still sort of a slow turn 1.
It's good if we've got powerful 3-drops, because then we can start deploying them on turn 2, and we can't get spell snared.
Sure. I mean, and Jesse not caring about life totals at this point, taking all the shock damage, no worries there.
No, there's no reason to care about life totals currently. I think if... see, there's the Teague at the bottom of the deck right there.
There it is.
If we have a powerful 3-drop, if we have choice between Loxodon Smiter and Knight of the Reliquary here, I'm going with the Knight, because Loxodon Smiter can't be countered. So I'm not worried about trying to run it out into mana later.
Gotcha.
So I want to try to resolve the Knight of the Reliquary here, where he can't do much about it.
Well, a Voice is a pretty good turn 2 play.
Yep, Voice is fine. Voice into the Cattle is great too.
Yes.
Because now Gerard can't one-for-one the actual threat on the floor. And if he does, he's giving Jesse an extra land. And then Jesse can untap, have one-drop collected company, which is fantastic.
So Gerard thinking about what he's going to do. He's going to play a second land, obviously.
Yeah.
And then he's going to think. I don't know that I see a path in his hand.
I think there's a verdict in hand.
So he just has to figure out how to live long enough to unload that thing.
Yeah. And, like, even living long enough's not great in the face of the Voice of Resurgence.
I wonder if a deck like this would have room for, like, a Selfless Spirit or something that gives your guys indestructible.
I could see it because you are playing Collected Company.
Yeah, as a sideboard card.
It's a very easy card to include. My friend is actually playing Abzan Elves, and he's included one Dauntless Escort, which is the 3-mana 3/3 version.
So Gerard did have a path. Going to get rid of that Voice, which seems fine.
Yep. No, that's definitely the threat you want to get rid of because everything else gets verdicted cleanly.
Yep.
Whereas Voice leaves behind a friend, and if Jesse can reload in any way, shape, or form, then like it's very good for him.
So Jesse will play an Arid Mesa. So
Attack
he'll
for 4. No Hierarch Exalted triggers, very good.
Tapping 4, is he going to company? No. He's just going to play 2 Tarmogoyfs, which they're 2 3s. I mean, that's damage.
Yeah. Gerard still doesn't have Supreme Verdict mana, and at this point we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage on the floor, so it's a turn clock at this point.
Yep.
And if Jesse has a company in hand, then we can just hold up the company, wait for him to verdict, and then just collect a company and then refill the board.
And Jesse still has a couple cards in hand. All it's going to take is a Lightning Bolt or 2 along with this attack to pretty much lock the door on Gerard.
Yeah.
I mean, even if Gerard spends mana to counter the Lightning Bolts, it's a counter out of your hand, and the creatures are still going to do the damage.
Yeah,
so,
we have there's a Keswick Wolf run on the floor, too.
Yeah, Gerard is not in a great spot here. Okay, so he's just going to Snapcaster and Path, and then probably Chump Block something.
Yep.
And the question is, what do you get rid of? I would imagine...
Going to block a 2/3 Goyf.
It looks like it.
I'm giving that 2/3 Goyf trample.
Yes.
Because he's not going to path the same creature he's blocking.
Yep.
And it's going to be able to allow you to trample over the Snapcaster Mage, because they only have 1 toughness. So even honestly, just activating to give trample is fine in this sense.
Okay. So, yep, and Jesse does that. He gives it trample. So he'll deal...
And I believe if Gerard paths, he's got to go for the other Goyf.
Now the question is, Path gets exiled. That should shrink the Goyfs.
Yes.
And that's before damage.
Yep.
So actually, the Goyf won't trample over for anything.
Well, no, the power buff from the Keswick Wolf Run.
Right.
He Wolf Runned for 3, so it's a 1/2 Goyf that will still die to the Snapcaster Mage.
Sure.
That's actually really key here. But it's trampling over for a bunch of damage. And I think Gerard actually kind of set that up in a way where once he flashed back the path, there would be no instance in the graveyard. So if Jesse tapped out for the Keswick Wolf Run, no instance in hand, then like it would get the point to the Goyf would die.
Right. So Gerard mitigating damage very well here. Down to 15. He's going to draw his card for turn. So it looks like we're at Supreme Verdict level now. He's going to pass. Jesse will play fetch land. I'll attack him with both.
He attacked with both?
Maybe he's going to use Wolf Run on one of them?
I don't know why the Noble would tap. The Noble actually doesn't do anything unless it's attacking by itself. So it's got to be tapping for Wolf Run.
Yep. Looks like it.
Which I'm not a huge fan of in this spot. Because, I guess maybe it is attacking.
Yeah, it is.
So the Goyfs are 2/3 again because of the Snapcaster Mage being in the graveyard.
Okay. Fabiano will take... okay, I'll flash in, dictate a crew fix at the end of turn.
5, 6. Takes 6, goes to 5.
5. Draws 2. So do we have Supreme Verdict in hand? No, but we have an extra turn.
Yep.
We can go find it. Draw 2 more cards, basically. Okay.
I love 5 mana, draw 2.
Serum Visions. Seems good.
Yeah, no, Serum Visions is fine here. It's another way to draw through the deck. If I think we've hit our land drop already for turn. So I don't know if there's any 4-mana take extra turns.
No, there's a Miracles card, but you have to draw that somehow. So if
Yeah.
he's got another Visions in hand. that
Yeah,
could
so
give
if
him
we
that.
vision it, okay, we
there's
found the Supreme Verdict.
We found Supreme
But, like,
Verdict.
this is a fine trade for Jesse because it's only 2 like minuscule creatures that we don't really care that much about.
Sure. Okay, and then he'll play an Ancestral Visions. He'll pass the turn.
But I think we're short on cards in hand.
I want to say Jesse's got 1, and
Is
then
that
those
Rancor?
2, so 3. So, and
Yeah,
2 of them are
we'll-
lands.
We'll land Loxodon Smiter and 1 other card. Ooh,
Oh,
choke.
Ooh.
Well,
Oh.
choke is okay in this matchup. I'm not a huge fan of it actually because we just hit 3 of Fabiano's lands. This is why he's playing these extra legendary lands and planes in his deck.
So now Fabiano can get rid of that with a Collected Company. He could bounce that. He, of course, doesn't have the mana to do it right now.
Yeah.
Now he does. But I think you want to take some extra turns here if you can.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know what kind of 4-mana take extra turn spells we have.
I don't think there are.
I think it's just, again, like you said, the Miracle card. We've already drawn a card for turn, so we can't Miracle that.
Adam's at 10. All of that damage done by his own hand.
Yeah, we don't really care about
No.
the damage all that much. I think Fabiano's actual win condition is probably part the Water Veil, so it probably is damage, but that's going to take a really long time to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And Fabiano's also in a spot where he's got Cryptic Command in his hand, but he can't reasonably cast Cryptic because he would have to fetch. He can't cast it period because he doesn't have triple blue, but he would have to fetch his Flooded Strand for an island, and then the island would not untap.
No, it wouldn't. Could get another. No, yeah, he can't. Yes. He's got an extra turns in hand. Can't cast that. Tanking to figure out what he wants to keep on top, if anything.
Yeah, this is the tough spot. You're not. Oh, you are staring down lethal actually because of the Loxodon Smiter, because Keswick Wolf Run.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if GFabs has another path in his hand. If he's got another path in his hand, that's okay for Jesse. That's the one thing I love about Path to Exile is it's one of those cards that you don't really mind getting hit by because it gets you a land out of your deck. And that's a Scavenging Ooze. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So Jesse will attack.
I just activate Wolf Run for 1. So then we can still cast Scavenging Ooze.
Nope. Yes.
So if Gerard has a removal spell, he has to use it here because it's 5 damage.
So what is that?
I have no idea what that is.
I can't even see that.
I think it's a damage redirection. It's gotta be, right?
Okay, Ethersworn Canonist.
Oh no, it's prevent damage, gain life.
I'm not sure. Maybe
Because Gerard's at 10 now.
Okay, it is.
Wow, that's really crazy. I've never seen something like that.
Let's see if we can get a read on that from the floor. I just can't read it from here, and that artwork is totally unfamiliar to me. So Gerard's going to play a Prairie Stream, which is an island, unfortunately, so he'll only get 1 use out of that with Choke still on the floor there.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that he's playing Prairie Streams. I like the Battle for Zendikar lands a decent amount in Modern.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty excited to see something like that. We've got the 2 basics, so it
On a
does.
format with Blood Moon, it pays you to fetch your basics, and you still get some dual lands. All right, he's going to tap 3. Intervention Pact.
We just saw White Pact.
Okay, so he's paying for Pact. That's what he's doing.
Wow.
Wow.
He's just all of this just adds up to Gerard being -1 land, which is really bad for him.
Pretty much. Okay.
All of these take extra turns, they're just so good because he has so many lands. It just, continually adds up. Every time you take an extra turn, you get an extra land.
So that'll be that's lethal to Gerard if Jesse, which I'm sure he will, activates the Wolf Run. The issue with Dictate a Crew Fix here is it's great when you're taking extra turns, but in a situation like this, it's really just getting Jesse gas.
Yeah. See, this is tough for Jesse because Jesse is pumping it for 9 currently.
Okay, and Gerard's just going to scoop it up. They're
Okay.
going to go to game 3.
Yeah. I think I like Jesse in this matchup. I think his deck's slightly favorable. he's got good aggressive creatures. He's got uncounterable creatures. He's got higher end, really powerful single creatures like in Tarmogoyf's and Knight of the Reliquaries. So he's got great things to do early, and he's got great single creatures late game. So everything he does is a threat that will win the game. And I really like that in his deck. And the Kessig Wolf Run was fantastic. I remember killing people with Kessig Wolf Run when someone had a Rest in Peace on the field, and I had like 2 Death Rites and a Grim Lavamancer, and I was like, wow, my Squires and 1 mana 1/1 look fantastic, but I was just like, jam, activate Wolf Run on this guy and deal trample damage, and it was great. So like every one of my 1/1s and 1/2s were threats because of the Kessig Wolf Run. I love Kessig Wolf Run as a land.
So Invention Pact, there's a card. I don't know I've ever seen that card played.
Yeah, no, that's really crazy.
Intervention Pact.
The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage, and then you gain life equal to the prevented damage. And you have to pay 1 white during your upkeep, or you lose the game.
So I'm sure that's a sideboard card, but a good sideboard card.
Yeah, no, against the aggressive creature decks, I think it's a fantastic sideboard card in tandem with your timely reinforcements. I think it's great.
Wow, you can cast that and timely reinforcements in the same turn.
Yep.
You could gain, like, even off of a lightning bolt, you go up 8 damage. That's a huge deficit to put a burn deck or an aggressive deck at.
I've actually played Burner to PTQ one time versus Junk, and my opponent resolved Obstinate Ballast, timely reinforcements, and activated his Vault of the Archangel twice, and I still was 1 burn spell away from killing him the entire time, which just shows you how powerful that deck used to be.
You say it used to be.
Yes, it's not quite as powerful as it once was. The Abzan Company combo deck was really good in Modern for a while, and that burn really can't beat that because they infinite life combo.
And it's not so good anymore because of Jeskai Control.
I think it actually is a fantastic Jeskai Control matchup. I think the control decks are actually underdogs to the burn deck because what Mark Morrison taught me about this deck is you would just play a few of your creatures early, attack, get them down to a semi-low life total, and just play, draw, go with them. Because nothing that they're going to do is better than you just holding up 7 burn spells. If you get to the point where you just have 5 lands on the floor and a handful of burn spells, like they can't be because they don't have enough mana and counter spells. And like if it's all burn spells, then like their lightning bolts and their paths don't affect your burn spells at all. Whereas like that's why you get your creatures down early, get 8 to 10 damage through the creatures and like a burn spell or 2, and then just draw go with them. And then if they try to do something with Snapcaster Mage, then you can react because they're down 2 to 3 to 4 mana.
Gotcha. So Adam's table shuffle here.
I share some of P. Sully's sentiment about the pile shuffle.
Which is that?
I will still do it. P. Sully hates the pile shuffle.
I'm not a fan of it.
I will still do it personally. I think pile shuffling every once in a while is great. I think what you should do as a Magic player, Jesse looks like he took a mulligan to 6. What you should do as a Magic player is rather than pile shuffling before your match, you should do so after your match is over.
Right.
So like after you've completed the match and you can talk to your opponent, you should just pile shuffle there while you're talking to your opponent.
I riffle shuffle both modern and standard decks.
Yeah.
I won't do it on Legacy. On Vintage, I do it all the time because I'm a savage.
That's savage. You just spelled it out for me. Jesse looks like he's got a 1-land hand, so he's really dependent on drawing the second land right now.
I mean, and even if he does, Gerard has spot removal. Deck's
Yeah, we just want the land. But I guess a second Nakado is fine. Oh, we do have land. That's good.
So we're good.
If we were on a 1-land draw, that's a really tough spot to be on 6 because you don't want to go down to 5 against this deck because he's got good efficient spot removal and counter spells, and Supreme Verdict. So if you run out more than 1 creature into the Supreme Verdict, you're just down 3 to 4 cards.
Jesse will go into 14. Plays a Voice of Resurgence.
Yeah, attacks for 3.
This is actually a fine start for him.
This is a fantastic start. This is actually just how you always want to start the game. Voice, I think, is your just best 2-drop in this matchup. So Goyf is
looks
powerful.
Like Gerard got a lucky hit off the top. Is that a miracle card?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
Praise Jesus.
All right.
We actually ate dinner with Jesus last night. There was 12 of us plus Jesus, and every time a beer came, there was actually 2 of them, and it was fantastic. Jesus just.
This is not a lie. There was a 2-for-1 at Chili's last night. He's not lying about
it was
this.
pretty fantastic.
All right, so
Okay,
Gerard's going to take his extra turn.
Yeah, I see the verdict in his hand. And this is actually great for Gerard because Jesse's on a very aggressive start, but Gerard now can get his 3rd land drop on the floor.
And there it is.
Actually, he can get 3 and then 4. He can just go verdict this turn, which is insane.
And not the worst play in the world. It's 2-for-1.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Sets Jesse back, and it looks like that's what
it's
he's
still
gonna
somewhat a 1-for-1 because Jesse's going to get the token.
Right.
And if Jesse has multiple creatures, which I think he does, he can go like if he has a third land. I don't think he does.
He's got a Gaddock Teague.
Yeah, the
so
Teague's
this
gonna
is
be
gonna
fantastic.
This is not gonna be good.
Teague and then attack for 2 is great. This is why
It's Fabiano down to 14.
Yeah, this is why this is our best draw, is because he just like used a 4-mana Supreme Verdict on a 1-mana 3/3 and a 2-mana 2/2 that gives you another creature.
Mm-hmm. Fabiano shaking his head, passes the turn. Looks like he doesn't have an answer to Teague, and Teague is probably now shutting down a large amount of his hand.
Yeah, I wanna know how many times GFabs has lost to the Teague Master.
Well, it's not gonna make him happy, that's for certain.
Nope.
Jesse playing another Voice of Resurgence. Got 2 Collected Companies in hand.
Yeah, our Collected Company I think is fantastic. It is an inherit 2-for-1.
So that's
I don't know
gonna
why
be
we aren't attacking with the Teague
3.
Master.
Maybe he's worried about timely
Snapcaster
ring?
Mage?
Yeah,
He's worried about
Snapcaster rather.
Snapcaster Mage. But like, I think I'm okay with Snapcaster flashing in and doing nothing because we're getting another voice token.
Gerard will draw for the turn. Trying to figure out what to do here. Desperately needs a path to exile. Jesse's actually in a pretty good spot. He shuts down 2 or 3 casting costs.
Amy says in chat, I hope Jesus can do better than Chili's.
All right, Aethersworn Canonist, man. Jesse's just getting all the sideboard cards.
Yeah, Canonist is fantastic.
This game, the door may be locked on Gerard here.
Gerard is no longer allowed to Snapcaster plus spell.
Nope.
That would make Andre Segarra watching at home very, very sad.
You know, the shame of all this is, I bet you what Jesse's thinking right now is, man, I really wish I was playing Islands. Everybody does.
No, Gerard's playing Islands and Jesse choked him out.
Everybody wishes they were playing Islands. That choke card really is just a reaction to the fact that he's not playing Islands.
I wish everyone else was playing Islands, because then I could just play 4 mainboard chokes and love my life.
Everyone's a blue mage at heart, Josh.
Sure, but not on paper.
Uh,
Celestial Colony is a fantastic land for Fabiano. That's another way we can win the game very easily.
Well, not right now, not at 5 life. And if Gerard doesn't have an answer this turn to everything that's facing him down, this is it for him.
Yeah, Gerard needs exactly a path. Actually, I don't know. He needs double path exile, right? He needs the path Aethersworn Canonist, then path the Gaddock Teague, and then Supreme Verdict, which is exactly 4 white mana sources. I don't know what else he could have to stop this. I guess if Jesse can't play another creature, we can go like Detention Sphere path and be okay.
And it doesn't look like Gerard's got them in hand.
Yeah, I don't think Gerard can get out of this.
Well, he's passing, so he may have some answer. I mean, maybe he's got a fog effect?
Maybe he's got the Intervention Pact.
He may have the Intervention Pact. So you'd put that on the token, obviously.
Obviously. That's just 4.
What? Is Jesse going to pass the turn? No, he's counting. Okay. I thought Jesse was going to pass. I was going to be shocked.
I think he's just adding up the damage and see what he can do this turn. I don't mind playing a creature.
He's going to play Scavenge? No, he's going to play... Okay, he's going to play his other Goyf.
So that makes just the token itself beyond lethal. So like any 2 creatures in this combat are lethal. A Burakema, he cannot tap team with Cryptic because Gaddock Teague says you can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost 4 or greater.
Swings in with the team. So now what does Gerard have? So he's got 3. He's going to draw.
So each player draws a card. Jesse's going to fetch in response to that. Get a land out of his deck and then draw a card. Jesse might have Bolt.
Sacred Foundry.
Oh, he might have a Bolt. He might have a Path, actually.
It looks like he drew another Collected Company. All right.
Click.
So, click. I don't know.
We should get a Voice of Resurgence trigger on this.
3 collected companies in hand. Dear Lord.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
So he'll take 1 and let Jesse draw. I don't know that I like that here because if he draws a land, those other 2 go live.
Yeah, this is still just lethal.
Yeah, Gerard's scooping it up. That's
Yeah.
it. And that will be round 1 for Gerard. Have any other matches going along here we can go to?
I'm not sure.
Well, good opening game for Gerard. Got his combo off, took all his turbo turns.
Yep. The games after that were not so great. Jesse Adams found some really powerful sideboard cards. Choke, Gaddock Teague, Aethersworn Canonist. Jesse did miss his Voice of Resurgence trigger on the Vanillion Click cast, and that is important for sure. Like you need to, if you're gonna play the card, you definitely need to remember those triggers. It's probably the second most important part of the card. It's just like if your opponent wants to do things in your turn, like you're gonna get paid off for it. Iburakema, he really drew like sideboard card and a sideboard card and a sideboard card, and like Scavenging Ooze is a great mainboard card against Gerard as well because Gerard's playing Snapcaster Mages. So I totally agree. Like that was just a sideboard onslaught right there.
And sometimes that's the way it goes. I mean, you say what you want about the game, it's still randomized in one fashion
No, for
or
sure.
another.
I watched Andrea Mengucci playing some decks online, and he was playing two chokes in his sideboard, and I just watched him play against Islands decks. He was like, all right, I'm going to board in both my chokes. And he was just like, he just had both of them every time he played them. So he was like, all right, choke, go. And then he just untaps, like, I'm just going to play the second choke, and just choked and just passed the turn back.
What else do we have?
We're just chatting about what Fabiano got penalized for. It was lying to the judges, I believe is what it was. He didn't get banned for too long, and that's why he's back now.
So it was a 6-month.
Yeah, it was a really
ban.
short thing. It wasn't. It was bad. Like I don't advocate any sort of behavior, but it wasn't detrimental to other players.
No.
Which is why like they hit him with like more of a slap on the wrist than like what other people have received recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. White and green-white have very good sideboard options for decks like that. Gaddock Teague's a house versus a lot of decks. Aethersworn Cannon is a house versus a lot of decks. Like even against Jund, like Aethersworn Cannon sometimes just messes up a lot of the turns you want to try to kill 2 things in. It's like now one of the 2 things I have to kill is your Aethersworn Canonist.
Yeah, I mean, Aethersworn Canonist for aggressive decks makes you play fairer for them.
Yeah, no.
It forces you to 1 for them every turn.
Yeah,
and
here's this guy that I just played, and I'm attacking with this 4/4, this 4/5, and this 3/3. You know what I mean?
And its ability is on a stick. It's on a creature. So just by playing it, if you're ahead just with that Aethersworn Canonist, then you're forcing them to 1 for you every turn, and you're still ahead of creature, and you're probably still attacking in.
No, it's great. Again, like it forces you to not affect the board state that's trying to hit your life total, which is great for your opponent. You know what I mean? Your opponent basically just played a spell skite with power and toughness.
Right.
You have to target that with your next spell.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great card. I love Gaddock Teague. I can't get any because the card's really expensive now. I'm kind of disliking that portion of Magic, but I love the game itself. I think the game is fantastic to play. Like, we just had great matches earlier. We played a little bit of Legacy, and I just love Magic. Magic's such a great game. There's so many different things you can do. You can really skew your deck to just have more fun than your opponent. Bob knows all about that.
I have all the fun.
He actually just does everything, and his opponent doesn't do anything.
Well, and what's funny? Yesterday we saw, I believe it was it the Bant Mirror? It was a Bant Company versus something. I don't know if it was Kevin Jones. Probably was, where the 2 opponents are facing each other, and we talked about this. You're so locked into what your creatures can do, what abilities you've got, and that I think it was Kevin didn't realize his opponent was just dead on board with a creature land, and he finally realized it, and then he attacked in and killed him, rather than displacing or something. And the reason I say that's interesting is because the game we just played, Josh and I played Death and Taxes. Josh played Jund.
Yep.
First game, I just got wrecked. The second game, I pretty much, I don't know that
he
I wrecked
out-tempoed me really well in the second game.
But on the last turn, I'm looking around. I've got all my stuff deployed. So I've got nothing in my hand. I'm like, okay, I've got a Numazawa's Jitte. I've got, a Batter Skull out. I could blink, and I'm thinking I've got one creature in hand. I've got a Flicker Wisp and I've got an Aether Vial up. I'm like, okay, I cast Flicker Wisp. I flicker something here. What do I want to flicker so it come maybe a land so he can't bolt? Oh, I'll just flicker the Goyf and attack and kill him with actual damage. Huh?
Yeah.
But like you can get yourself so ingrained in one line of play.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, that it like hits you right in the face.
We've definitely all have fallen to that. And everyone in the chat right now is just talking about the more popular decks in Modern. I think Jund, Nahiri, Control, and Infect are all probably the decks to beat, I think, going into any given weekend currently.
And so why do you think that Abzan company's now sort of not a deck to beat anymore?
I personally don't know the reasoning behind it, but I talked to a lot of my friends who play the Abzan company deck, and they just said the hate is gaining, and like the Nahiri Control deck I think has a good matchup versus them.
It does.
So like if Nahiri Control's very good at the moment, then like their deck's probably not as great. Jund is another like 45-55 matchup for them. I think 55 in their favor. The combo's very good, but Jund has very efficient removal spells, ways to get rid of things, discard spells. So like Jund can always end up putting you off on what you want to do, and like you end up trying to play the game that they're making you play because you're missing cards and stuff. In fact, it's just very powerful, and I think that also has a very good company matchup. And if that's the new hotness on the block, then like that and the Nahiri Control just contributing to the fact that company's not doing all that well. I still think company's very powerful. I think Kiki Chord's maybe a bit more powerful, and it does a lot of the same things, playing a lot of same creatures, and just you have a bit better of a combo kill, I think, because it's a bit more consistent. And if not, then like all of your creatures are better. You're playing like Piankir Nalar, Restoration Angel, like Kitchen Finks as well, and like Voice of Resurgence and stuff. So your creatures are just better by themselves, whereas the Absent Company deck's creatures are a bit less powerful. Like you have like Wall of Roots and like Birds of Paradise.
So, well, I mean that deck wants to be explosive, so you want to play your Wall of Roots minus play Birds of Paradise. I mean, you want to play several creatures early, do two things at once early, and then just explode right into your collected company as early as possible, because it is possible to assemble that combo on like turn 4.
Yeah.
And just kill somebody.
A few things in the chat. One, I don't believe there were Knight of the Reliquaries in the Zoo deck that we just saw. Oh wait, no, there was. Knight of the. I was thinking Knight of the White Orchid. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Knight of the Reliquary was definitely in that deck. It's the Naya Company deck is actually what it was. It wasn't quite Zoo.
And the Retreat to Coralhelm deck seems to be gaining some steam
yes,
too. You see a lot of those starting to put
I actually just picked up a
now.
foil Retreat to Coralhelm the other day. Andre, I think, and other people were talking about the new Liliana. I've talked about it with some people before. I think we talked about it with Kevin Jones in the Weekly Ward, actually, and how the new Liliana actually feels like it might be more powerful than old Liliana in the Grixis control decks. Because it helps you fight on an axis that you're a little bit more friendly with, and the milling 2 cards and then getting back creatures great when you're playing the Tazigers and Gurmag Anglers, and Delver of Secrets. So like minus, put 2 cards down, play a Delver of Secrets, mill everything, play a Taziger or a Gurmag Angler. They said we need to look into the camera more. Alright, sorry. Darth Steve's, I would like to look at the camera more, but the issue is the way the camera is set up is the camera is in the middle and we're watching ourselves over here, I guess, is kind of what we're doing. Like, the screen is just easier to look at than the camera because the camera is just a little thing by itself. So I'll definitely try to look at the camera a bit more. Yeah. Thanks for that.
My mother raised me right. She told me to look people in the eye when you talk to them.
Yeah, and like, we're both over there.
So now I have to look at Josh's eyes in the screen. I mean, Josh is an attractive guy. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind looking at him.
I appreciate that, man. I'm pretty glad you're sitting next to me too. Actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be worse, or maybe better. I mean, you could have Kevin Jones here. Apparently, one of our Twitch viewers thinks he's the ugliest guy on earth.
Yes, Trojan. I agree. Trojan's adding on to the fact that in the Grixis deck we also have Snapcasters.
Right.
So with the new Liliana, our deck becomes like super graveyard degenerate because we have Colgan's Command, Snapcaster Mage, Liliana of the Last Hope, Tazagir, Gurmag Angler, and Delver Secrets. So we just have so many things that we want to put into our graveyard, bring back from our graveyard, put into our graveyard, bring back, just back and forth and back and forth. And Snapcaster is just like the best iteration of that because
pull him back,
we can just
spend
be like,
2, get something else.
Snapcaster Mage, block, Colgan's Command, kill your thing, make you discard a card. Snapcaster goes to graveyard, untap. Liliana, minus Lily, get back Snapcaster Mage with 3 mana open. Like, we just do so many awesome things. Like, I think she might actually be a bit better in that deck, which is hard to say because Liliana the Veil's so powerful. Like no questions asked, second most powerful Planeswalker ever printed. So it's really hard to say that like she's just better than that one in this deck.
Important point. Who's the first?
Oh, Jace, not close.
What
Mind
color-
Sculptor.
What do you have to play to cast him?
Things that tap for worse color in Magic.
Okay.
Islands.
All right. I'm just checking.
So I can't say much about it. I've played a Jace once. I played the Legacy Gauntlet back when that was live on MTGO.
How did you play him and not just immediately become Blue Mage? I don't understand.
Oh, because it was horrible.
What do you mean it was horrible? That thing is busted.
It is busted, but I won the game by just going Jace plus Jace plus
Yeah,
Jace plus Jace plus
yeah,
Jace
yes.
plus Jace plus. And like I was playing against lands, and my lands opponent was like, "All right, combo, make the 20/20." I'm like, "All right, sweet,
Bounce.
Swords to Plowshares."
Yeah, or
No,
bounce.
I was just like Swords to Plowshares. I was just like plus Jace plus Jace plus Jace plus Jace. They never found a Punishing Bar, which is fantastic for me. And then I was just like, "Old Jace, you have 5 cards left. Try to combo kill me again." And they just tried, and it was like Swords to Plowshares. They were like 60 life when I beat them, which was fantastic.
Right. So you did that, and somehow you're still playing subpar colors. I don't understand.
I was playing Miracles.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
really subpar deck, I think.
No.
Best deck in Legacy, which is fantastic for me because I just abrupt decay everything and just game. Just over.
I really.
All right. We have our next round coming.
All right. Well,
Thanks,
that's
Jack.
going briskly. How many rounds are we today? 6?
Judge, how many rounds? 7 rounds? Okay.
So who do we got?
That's really weird. Oh, okay. Josh Moran. I remember him. I know why. He's a random 0-pointer in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Mark Morris.
That's my buddy, but I don't know.
Which one?
Ed Morgan.
I don't know who Adam White.
Neither do
Oh,
I.
I think I know Adam White.
Do you want to put that one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right.
Put that one on. Sorry, guys.
If that is my friend, like I think it is, I don't even know if he's here today.
Well, we can go check. So we've chosen a match. Actually, going to be a good friend of mine, Ed Morgan, who is who I drove up with from here. So he's a South Jersey grinder, also a really good brewer. Ed's a guy who isn't afraid to build a new deck, come to it with an FNM, or even come to it with a competitive tournament like this, and just play it out and kind of see what happens. Takes his lumps, goes home, redoes it. Talks to a lot of the local guys that we all play with. Guy who's really willing to kind of accept ideas and constructive criticism. I'm interested to see what he plays. Oh, you know what? I actually know what he's playing, and Josh is going to love this.
Am I?
Judge this round. Do you want us to send the winner to you always?
We'll send you a message.
Yeah, we'll send you a message. So my buddy Ed Morgan, I was just telling everybody at home, is a local brewer.
Okay.
And drove up with me. He's a guy who's like totally okay with taking his lumps in a competitive format
Sure.
to try a new deck out. But
Okay.
this time he's actually running a semi-stock list. And he hates islands. Hates
So we're
islands.
playing choke.
Oh no. No. He loves goblins.
Boil.
He plays Dragon Stompy in Legacy.
Boil.
You know what he's playing today?
Boil.
Nah. Merfolk. Because as he said, they're just drowned goblins. It's not really playing
You can
blue.
actually play goblins in modern though.
But he's saying, I said to him, you hate blue. He said, yeah, but it's just goblins. It's just goblins in modern.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm just reading through the chat, seeing if we missed anything.
I can't read, so I don't know. You're going to have to tell me what's there.
Chat, we had a Grixis control deck here last night, the top 8'd. Drew Brandner was playing it. He had some really rough top 8 draws and wasn't able to get off against his, was it Delirium opponent?
Yeah, it was a Delirium opponent.
Okay,
He got him.
against Black Green
He
Delirium.
mulled the 5. He got nailed very
Yeah.
early on with a I think it was a, was it an Infinite Obliteration No, it was transgress, or it was some sort of hand disruption that put him down to 4, and then he kind of...
yeah, he got transgressed, and then he drew his Infinite Obliteration.
Yes.
Which is sort of a dead card in the matchup, unless, you're at a parity in board state, and they weren't.
Right.
I personally think Merfolk is a fine Modern deck. I don't think it's great, to be honest. One of the people in the chat said it's actually one of the best decks versus Islands, which is intuitive because, Island walk's a thing.
It is.
And sometimes they just give you a few islands because they just want to spread the island love.
Yeah, well, Spreading Seas is a card, and you get to draw off of it.
Which, Andre, I don't know if you're listening, but you should probably play Merfolk because you can give other people islands, and then you can feel better about playing against your opponent.
Yeah. Or you can play Prison and give other people islands because you just want to take them off mana colors.
Yeah, or just make everything a mountain, right?
Or you can make your own thing an island. You can make your own island more of an island and draw a card, which I have done.
Okay.
Just a cantrip.
Yeah, no, it seems actually fantastic with Blood Moon because I don't know how that works.
It's fine. It makes
Spreading
it
Seas.
Yeah, it makes it a basic.
Thing?
Well, it makes it a basic land. So it makes your mountain a basic island, and it's a basic land.
Okay.
And it changes the super type, or the type.
Is it not a timestamp thing?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I know that's weird. Like, nice. He laughed at that. I think I know there are things that are weird with like timestamps where like the first one played affected the board state first, but then the one that came after that would supersede all of the stuff that came before that.
Sure. Well, typically you're playing it on turn 2 to just take them off a color for a turn to get to your Blood Moon.
Yep, or just draw a card, like 2 mana cantrip's fine.
Yep.
I think Merfolk's a fine deck. I personally love playing against it because they're just playing a bunch of little dumb creatures, and I play little dumb lightning bolts, and bolts beat creatures.
Yeah. Yep.
I think what I love the most about Modern is that like even against these creature decks, like Jund isn't just like gonna snap win all of these matchups. Because, like, even though we play efficient removal spells and Tarmogoyfs and stuff, like, they play some removal spells and they play some counter spells. So, it's, like, really strong. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just beat them with a bunch of removal spells. Because sometimes they have, like, a few Spreading Seas in your lands and then they resolve on Master Waves. And, like, I'm just like, okay, I have red removal spells or I have Abrupt Decay, and neither of those things hit Master Waves.
Master Waves is a good card. Was a good card in Standard when it was played, too. Back in the days of you're either playing mono blue or mono black.
This post says timestamps.
Okay, so let's see how that works.
So Spreading Seas versus Blood Moon. Yeah, okay. So it's timestamp. So
yeah, I mean, typically I don't think I've ever Spreading Seased an opponent after a Blood Moon. I'm usually doing it to myself, or if I'm doing it, I'm just doing it for the cantrip. So. Wow.
Okay, so my buddy Andre played blue-white Merfolk, and instead of like Kira Glassspinner, he's actually playing Reflector Mage.
Okay.
Which seems awesome.
Yeah.
Andre, we can play Spell Queller in the deck now.
Yes, we could place.
Yo, blue-white Spell Queller Merfolk, and feel real good about everything except nothing, because Spell Queller sucks. It's a fantastic card. I just don't want to ever play against it. So I don't advocate anyone else to play it other than Standard, so we can only have to live this nightmare for a little while, and then we're good.
So how's our feature match coming?
I don't know. I gave it to the judge. We should be working on that. Dirt Dog, the winner of regionals yesterday, was the man, the myth, the legend, the daddy himself, Kevin Jones. He had a perfect record with Bant Company all day yesterday. He actually never took a match loss the entire day. Just read the first post.
Which post? We're still looking at timestamps? Still looking at the timestamps?
Yeah, Interchange is basically no problem. Yeah, actually, it might not be timestamp with. I don't know. It might be timestamp with when they're played, but I know.
We have a whole room of judges out there.
Blood Moon has. Blood Moon does weird things. It makes all your lands into mountains.
It does great things.
It just makes all your lands into mountains. I want to see it specifically, actually.
It makes your life difficult, as far as I'm concerned. It does wonderful.
Yeah, non-basic lands are mountains. But what happens is they don't actually become basic lands, so you can still get Price of Progress to die.
Right. And
that's happened to me. I had a Grixis Delver opponent in Legacy just be like, all your lands are mountains. I'm like, sweet. And then he casts Price of Progress. I'm like, what? It just does nothing, right? And he was like, nah, you still take 10. I was like, how does that work? And I asked the judge, and I talked to the judge, but I was like, yeah, so they are mountains, but they're still non-basic lands. They have to fit that requirement to be mountains.
Right,
they're still non-basic.
Yeah, their super type doesn't change.
Yeah.
Well, that's like if I have in the prison deck, Thopter Prison, if you have Blood Moon and you have what's your indestructible artifact land that I can't remember.
Darksteel Citadel.
Thank you. It's still an artifact land.
Wanna come over here? Sure. All right, we actually have a judge floating around, so we're kind of curious. We can do an ask a judge thing real quick. If you want to just sit in the middle. All right.
Yeah, put you on camera.
All right, ask a judge segment for about 20 seconds. Judge, Blood Moon versus Spreading Seas.
Okay, so Blood Moon, what it does is it's going to take away any of the subtypes that the land would have, such as if it was like a forest or something or previously.
Mm-hmm.
It will no longer be that. It'll have mountain placed in that area.
Okay.
Any super types are going to be gone. So Spreading Seas, it made it an island. And now it's going to take away island and put mountain there. It's going to take away any abilities that it had. Being an island, it was given the ability to tap for blue.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it's a mountain, it doesn't have the ability to tap for blue. It has the ability to tap for 1 red mana.
Okay, so no matter when either of them are cast, Blood Moon will win the fight?
No.
Okay.
It depends when it's timestamp. Yep.
Okay, it is a timestamp? All right, sweet.
What was cast first?
Yep.
Basically goes
yeah,
away when
goes
the next
away.
one
Yep.
comes in.
The
Awesome.
new one will replace the old one.
Gotcha.
All right,
Okay,
that's awesome.
Great.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you very
Judge.
much.
Yeah.
All right, that answered our real quick question. I had an assumption that it was timestamp, and I was really glad we were able to clear that up. Because the one thing I am really, really adamant about in Magic is to make sure that if you have an assumption about something, it is correct.